Welcome to the Level Up Report, where this week we're going to talk about working in the game industry because there's been a lot more just news stories and everything just discussing how horrible conditions are actually when making games. Is not too surprising, but I wish it was better handled overall.
Yeah, the Kotaku journalist Jason Schreier did a lot of research
He's been hauling ass right like for a
yeah,
while.
into Call of Duty's development cycle, and it's crazy the stuff he found by interviewing these former employees and current employees. It's just that the industry, like these development team, they just want a lot, just want a little too much, and it may not even be the team itself. It could also be the publisher that put on all this pressure. Let's focus on Call of Duty since that's more recent.
Yeah, that was I think the article was last week, I believe.
hmm So so they split the employees there. They treat them really differently. The core development team versus the
It's
what they
the
say.
QA
Yeah.
testers and developers, which is quality assurance for anyone who doesn't know. They basically make sure that there is as little bugs and glitches as possible when uh, making a product.
So the core development team are the employees with the benefits. The QA tester, they're the contract employee. They're the
Yeah, they
contract
were
employees.
contracted by a third party for this case.
They're still working together as a whole team, but that's this divide there, like create this poor morale overall. And they do not treat them, equally as
No, not at all. They treated the QA like second class citizens.
and that's just really poor for the overall product. And
I
it
think
seems like this practice has
it just gave a really bad taste in my mouth when I read the article and I just saw how different these two teams were being led and like how they're being treated. One was invited to like parties and everything like that, being rewarded for bonuses and everything. And then the QA team basically they get the scraps of anything if they're lucky.
yeah, they're like working in the shadow, don't get like the credit they deserve because they need the QA team to make a good product. They had to figure out all the bugs because bugs are what the players will like notice firsthand when the game get released. And they wait for this day one patches, and that's what the QA is gonna find out. And they don't get the credit. They don't get the credit they deserve and the recognition, and it looks really bad on this industry practice.
Yeah, it's the problem that they've been talking about, just the whole idea of unionization for game developers, just so they have something to protect themselves against for things like this.
Well, this time we're not even talking about the development core team. This is just contractors that have been hired to do different things, a different job.
Right,
But
but
they also need some kind of protection as well.
it's a it's a problem that's been ongoing for a long time. It needs to have a solution to this. Otherwise, all these game developers, even contractors, QA, anything, they're just gonna get themselves burned out,
hmm
not want to work anywhere in the industry.
It's just the industry itself putting all this pressure. They always want the most money with the least amount of money spent for the productivity and effort put forth by the employees, contract or non-contract.
Yeah.
There needs to be a change, and like you said, unionization will be a perfect. Like they will have a spokesperson to negotiate the working I don't know, working environment, the working hours and benefits.
ethics or anything like basic like rights that they
Hmm.
should be entitled to. And actually, some League of Legends developers are leading the charge for this because they've had a lot of problems lately, just with maybe new contracts that they're not agreeing with, or just gender inequality or anything from anything like that.
Okay. So we need more protection for the employees overall. The industry needs to have more regulations in place just on how they treat their employees. And at the end of the day, the games will be better for the consumer if their employees get treated right. That's what I believe. That's in my opinion.
I want to believe that too. Just hard to come up with something that what like the gaming industry would agree on for treating their workers equally and fair.
Because they're just too absorbed in that fast money from the loot boxes, from those microtransaction. They lost touch with what who they are. Like it's the game they create, the fun games they create, but not those money grabbing mechanism that they create.
Or like tactics from mobile games, heavy
Mhm.
microtransactions, which it's getting worse in my opinion. There needs to be legislation or something done at this point. Like it's
Hopefully, yeah,
needs
hopefully, well, hopefully it will be done because it's still in the works. Congress is still focusing on that because the industry can't fix itself. The government has to step in to do something about it.
I think that game publishers and game developers, some of them, they're just used to having a free reign over what they're doing and having no consequences for it, because other industries have some certain ethics or some rules that are established, or it's just a given. But in this industry, I feel really hasn't taken off for those
Okay.
things.
So maybe they should make another committee because I know they have a committee for for the rating for the games. Like AE for everyone and for maturity for teens. Maybe they need another subcommittee within that for a guideline on ethics on how to proceed with a game design.
Or maybe
And
just a completely different committee, because those are just making ratings for games. It's not exactly looking out for workers in the game industry.
or the consumers.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe a brand new committee just to focus on employees and consumers, not just the industry publishers.
I think there should be a board or something like third party, something different outside of game publishers, because at this point I can't expect game publishers to be looking out in the best interest for their game developers, given the track records and how it's just more stories like Black Ops 4 and Treyarch are just coming to light because of Jason Schreier and Kotaku, but it's not getting any better. There's more awareness, but there hasn't been any widespread change. I think we're at the apex of it, which this could determine what people would want to actually want to change in this industry.
I agree.
I just hope the changes come sooner, because there's a lot of talented game developers and publishers. I'd hate for them to just completely leave this industry just because of how horrible they were treated. No, they're very talented.
That's true. Well, increasing awareness is just the first step.
Yeah, this is the very first steps, but there needs to be serious talks about just consequences so these things don't happen as often as they are right now. That's what I hope.
Mm-hmm.
But that's gonna do it for this week, guys. So let us know what you think, and we'll be back next week with another episode.